Welcome to Acquire Taste. As always, I am Figure Eight, and with me are my cohorts, Andrew and Coda. Today we have a very special episode. We are exclusively listening to and going to talk about one of Portland's greatest artists ever to walk the pavement, Swiggle Mandela, the founder of LFGM, a member of America's largest rap group, the Antelope Fishermen, shameless plug, and an idol to me. I look up to him a lot, my big bro. The reason I exist the way I exist in the Portland scene, reason I got my first show, and Coda got his first show, and Ellis got his first show, and Mello. Lot of stuff we could say about him, but we had him choose 3 of his own albums for us today, and during our album club, we're going to go over that, and we're going to have our first guest. He's going to come on and answer some questions about it, but we will maintain some level of normalcy. How is everybody doing?
Doing good. It's been I wasn't here last ep, but I'm back and I'm ready to fucking
Acquire this
taste, baby.
Acquire some taste here.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm excited. We listened to Swiggle's album. It was great. Yeah.
I know we talked about going to do this in person with Swiggle in Seattle. Swiggle, unfortunately, came down with COVID, and we were unable to do that. But we wanted to stick to our promise and the premise of the idea. So here we are, doing a normal, not so normal episode of Acquired Taste. Let's start with, as we always do, in the news.
What's happening in the news? Where's it at?
Do we want to start sad or do we want to start fun and work our way to sad?
Let's start sad. Let's get that over with.
Yeah, so obviously, Rich Homie Quan has reportedly passed away, probably due to an overdose.
Yeah,
which
is being reported that it was an overdose.
Yeah, which obviously, no matter what caused it, very sad. If it is an overdose, it just feels like rinse, wash, repeat, in the sense that we just keep having these like legends and these artists, die young because of drugs. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of things that could be said about Rich Homie Quan's career. He's often on those lists of artists that kind of had a lot of potential that they ended up squandering in some way, but I was always one to defend him. I think if your career is based around a group, I can sympathize with that, and if that group dissolves right as you guys get to where you got to be going, I don't know what I would do. Essentially, if we all dropped a song together and it went number 4 or whatever that Lifestyle did back then, and then we all hated each other, it would be a lot. It would be a lot for me to get through, and I don't know that I'd want to keep going on. And to my knowledge, the whole time, Quan had kind of wanted to patch things up with Thug, and unfortunately that didn't get to happen. But I always loved his music. I love Young Thug a lot. I love a lot of his features with Young Thug, all the way down to like with his song with Lil Dicky, a real big bummer for hip hop today.
I hate to be that guy. It seems like there's been several people like that who passed away, and I've heard of Rich Homie Quan, obviously, but I never really dove into his music, so he's going to be another one of those guys I'm going to have to take a dive into, pay my respects.
Yeah, we can talk about that real quick. I know it often comes up of like, hey, none of y'all listened to his music while he was here. I think that's fine. I don't think it's everybody's fault that someone doesn't listen to somebody's music, and I also don't think it to be disingenuous to listen to it after. I can't imagine anything else I would want to happen to my music if I passed other than more people find it. Yeah, I wish more people listen now, but that's all that's left of me. So as long as people are going and rediscovering it, that you get to live a lot longer that way.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's even one of those things where, like, you can't really fault it because it's like, okay, well, like, let me check him out and, like, sure, maybe I didn't listen to him then or whatever, but, like, at least you're listening and, like, the art can still, like, spread without them being here, I guess.
Yeah, I never understood why people think of that as a negative when it's really just like, yeah, like Fig was saying, there's what more could you ask for when you're gone? Like you've created this legacy, right? And if it's either not say it goes to waste or it goes unnoticed, like would you rather no one listen to your music after you pass, or your voice to spread and continue influencing people?
Yeah, it's just subjectively good. To keep somebody, you die once when you leave the earth, you die a second time the last time somebody says your name. It's keeping somebody alive, and a lot of times in some way, even if they didn't own all their masters, some of that money's going to the family. Yeah, We don't have to stay this level of bummer. Was a bummer.
All right, on to the next one. The next thing is that there's going to be new ASAP Rocky featuring J. Cole,
Super
produced
excited.
by The Alchemist.
So excited.
That's supposed to come out as we're recording this, probably.
Yeah, in the next 40 minutes.
That's an amazing trio.
We're going to talk about that next week.
I feel like there was that 10-second snippet. That's all I've heard of it, but it sounds like it's going to be dope. Super excited for that.
I didn't listen to it on purpose. I always get spoiled for stuff, and music is never one of those things that's considered you can get spoiled for, but I'm tired of hearing things before. I'm excited to be blown away.
Yeah, I like to listen to... I even, like, have found myself, like, I won't listen to leaks. Like, even if it's, like, you know, something that was never going to come out anyway, but like, or whatever. I feel like it's kind of like, I'm going to listen to what's intended to be out there.
It's funny, I had a burnt CD I made when I was a kid of all the Eminem songs that leaked for the album just before Relapse. And I don't know what happened to me one day. I was like 13 years old and I was like, this is wrong. And I like snapped it in half and threw it away. Like there's just something icky about listening to stuff that's not ready.
Yeah, it's funny, man. If it wasn't for this podcast, I would know nothing about what's happening in current events. As much as I love hip hop, and I'm just so like out of the loop that's why I love doing this, because then I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was happening. The Alchemist and A$AP Rocky and J. Cole, they're in like my top 10 at least.
I know an absurd amount of pop culture, but I haven't paid attention to hip hop like this since, you know,
yeah,
me and Andrew were much younger.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say the same thing. Like I'm definitely not as in tune as I used to be, but like, you know, it's hard to miss things on social. You'll at least see like a little snippet or at least a little whisper of something. So I have like a good sense of what's going on, but this podcast has definitely made me like look into more and like stay more in tune with it. So it's been good.
I think I like podcast because it is forced social interactions with my friends.
Sure, yeah. We've had some good moments on the podcast.
Yeah. So
especially because it takes us out of the headspace of just like our normal like conversations about our own lives, where we can actually just talk about just
something
else.
Life's so serious to just be like, let's spend an hour talking about this is nice.
Yeah, I hope our viewers aren't, because the first few episodes of this, we were a little behind, or not behind, but we would record an episode and it, you know, took a couple weeks before it would go out. So we were in the present, our viewers were in the past. They probably knew about it already before listening to it, but now we're catching up.
Yeah, there's always gonna be that little delay.
I think it would be cool if at some point we can go to recording on a night and then it comes out the next day, so that way we can be as current as possible. But that would mean we'd have to have some sort of supplemental always ready in case we couldn't record 1 week.
Yeah, we'd have to have some backups that aren't really dated, I guess.
We're talking about how the sausage is made. We gotta
yeah.
There's one more piece of news. Eminem and LL Cool J randomly dropped today under no announcement. Murdergram. Doe.
Here we are talking about Marshall again.
One of the episodes is called that.
Dude,
I'm
this
pretty
is
sure.
a big year for Marshall. He's been done a lot more this year than he has in a long time.
This motherfucker said, "I'm out."
No, it was a pretty cool song though. Like
yeah.
It was a good Eminem verse. It was an Eminem verse. Like I don't know what else we expected from that. But I feel like, you know, these are two legends. Eminem has obviously mentioned LL Cool J and his like idols and all that. So I feel like that's got to be really cool for him when LL calls him or whatever and is like, yo, you trying to hop on this track? I feel like that's got to be cool. And like I said, good song. I enjoyed it. And so it'll be cool to see what this album's like.
Yeah, that song was pretty good. Fig played it for me when it dropped today. I had no idea. I probably wouldn't have ever heard that if Fig hadn't played it. I mean, I'm sure it would have came up, but that was cool. I never really listened to LL Cool J a whole lot, but then Fig pulled up, you know, his archives and his hits, and I was like, oh, I see where a lot of people got their inspiration from. We were talking about it, like, yeah, just like that time frame where a lot of people were just influenced off of each other, whereas now it's like, you know, it's been 50 years now, so people are kind of just all over the place.
This guy Swiggle's struggling with Discord.
It's not good. He's an old man. Don't keep that in.
Keep it in.
Keep that in.
Jarvis, don't keep that in.
What up, Swiggle? Welcome to Acquired Taste.
What's good?
You gave us 3 albums to listen to, and we listened to them, and we're gonna ask you some questions about them, and then we'll let you leave, and then we'll talk about them some more in depth. But right now, we want to ask some questions. Thank you for being here, Swiggle. You are our first guest ever on this podcast.
Right. Hell yeah.
Last week we had S&D pick our albums for us, so we're gonna try and include people a little bit more. Let me get to my. There we go. So I took on Port Amsterdam. It was the furthest from me, so I ended up taking it on. I wanted to hear how far we've come. This is a long ass album, Swiggle Mandela. Is this your first album?
For sure. Yeah.
Because it's the first on your Spotify, so I wasn't sure if it was like you considered it not a mixtape for the first time or something like that.
Yeah, I think technically, yeah, because I did an EP before that. And so, I don't know. I guess it is my first album.
Tight, I like that. It's so long. It came in 3 parts, so I have a couple of questions around that. What made the decision that it was going to not be a short thing? Is it because it was your first one and you had been here so long?
Because I've been working on it for so long. I had the concept to do the album. Like, I wanted to do an album called Port Amsterdam, maybe like 5 or 6 years before I ever released it. So I already had like songs for it, like Portland Parks and a handful of other songs, but Portland Parks was like probably the first one.
Portland Parks is a super special song to you and to Portland.
Then I just never released it. I just never felt comfortable releasing it. And then I stacked so many songs that finally I was like, okay, it's ready.
Did any songs get cut in the making? Did they end up on something else? Because I always have a few songs that I end up cutting that end up on like the Fish album, me and Coda's album, or a mixtape.
I don't think so.
Well, that's tight.
When I was getting to the end of it, I felt like I didn't even have enough. I like added songs.
I wanted to ask you specifically, Dear Willamette Week was on here. We just shot the video for the sequel to that, and obviously you were just on the cover of Willamette Week. What was the immediate impact of that song? I know the relationship has since been mended, and they've given you a lot of flowers. So, like, what was the immediate response you got when that song came out? I forgot that was on this album.
There was never really much to mend, I guess, but I initially we were all trolling their Instagram page, and I think there was like maybe just like some like smart remarks they said to us, but there was never really an issue. And then when the song came out, that's actually when I forget his name, but the person who wrote the article about Dear Willamette Week, that was when he first reached out to me. So immediately following the song was the article, and then yeah, everything kind of went viral locally after that.
So it did exactly what you intended it to do then?
I didn't even intend for it to do that, but I think I was burning the bridge. I was just like, fuck it. And then when they wrote about it, it was kind of like a surprise, or when they wanted to write about it. 'Cause I had given up wanting to be in that paper by then. So yeah.
Just a quick question: who's on Ghetto Portland? It's not credited, and I don't think I realized there was another voice in there.
It's just me. Oh wait.
Yeah, someone harmonizes with you at the very end.
Oh, that's
female artist. It sounds like
that's Jackie. What's her last name? I can't believe I'm spacing her last name right now. Probably that long ass day. But the homegirl Jackie, the homegirl Alexis Canard, and then probably the homie Baki. Because like originally that song was like for a project that I was doing for the actual Portland Parks and Recreation. Yeah.
well, that's crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah, so there's actually like more than me just on the song.
That's super tight. I didn't realize that listening to it back in or any of the listens I've had of it until I was trying to really think critically of it. So that's cool. Some facts I didn't know. This isn't really a question, but I wanted to point out that Dear Portland Police, Drippy Hippie, and Talk to Me are all on here, and I'm on the remix to all of
Hmm.
those. I'm
Yeah, they need to
I made it to
remix this.
3 remixes. I was proud of that. Um, yeah, and then the last question I had another statement for you, and I guess you can give your opinion on it. But what was your favorite of your features? Because you have your brothers. There's Raz Simone. Um, obviously there was the ones we just discussed, and there's a couple more, I believe. Favorite feature or producer that you worked with? Just your favorite collaborator on the project.
I think that's actually it. It's just my brothers and Raz. I don't think there's anybody else. But favorite, um, probably Azriel. He made Still Smoke Kill
Oh, okay.
the beat, and I think probably, man, controversially, I guess, for Raz Simone, because I was just like the only one outside of like the
For
family on
sure.
there.
Yeah. That was what a wild ride that was for 2 years.
Yeah, for sure. On God. And then LaFreak made that beat,
Oh,
so
shout out
that
LaFreak.
was like our biggest project ever.
Yo, he's dope. Um, my favorite songs on the album were I've told you this before. MLK and Killingsworth is one of my favorite Swiggle Mandela songs.
Hmm.
Sus, Not What It Seems, Abnormal, and then obviously Still Smoke Kill. It's crazy hearing you perform that almost every day. So
I'm like fucking 6 years later.
yeah, and the fact that you know that's on this because we do that same thing, and sometimes I beat myself up about it. Like we recorded Cocaine on the Table, almost 7 years ago, and we perform it much less now, especially after the tour, but we still do it. But I kind of think as I grow older, that's the mark of a good artist that you can pull from back then, and it still can do something now. And that's it for me. That was Port Amsterdam, part 1 through 3. Uh, one of you fucks.
All right, yeah, I got some questions for you, Swiggle. So I got assigned Movie Money to listen to. It's a great
Okay.
album. Congratulations on that. Um,
Appreciate it.
I've heard a few of them, like just from live shows, like Facial is a very popular one. Like that I've heard at several shows.
That's an Arcadia beat.
Oh, really? Okay. Um, so you got songs like Three Goats and I think all that. Like you have several features with your brothers. So my first question is like, what's it like having that immediate family who's also in the same lane as you, like doing the same creative passion? Like, what's that like having that support system?
It's dope. It's like it makes you better because like when your brothers are so good, then it just pushes you to be better. So yeah, it's like I guess because it's just been my whole life, I just got used to it. But yeah, it's like it's pretty dope. I know a lot of people don't have that same experience.
Yeah, no, it's you guys are all super talented and we all look up to you. So Needed is also on this album, which is we've also talked a little
Yeah.
bit about this on the pod before. How did that song come into fruition? Because you have such a large artist on there, and like we were able to meet up, and you got to film a video and everything. So like, how did that come to be?
Well, my manager at the time, Max, shout out to Max. Boogie is one of his favorite artists, and so he was like so deeply involved in my career at the time. And he asked me one time, like, because he was showing me Boogie. He's the one that put me on to Boogie. I'd actually seen a lot of I had seen a couple of viral videos just on the internet, and I hadn't like looked into it, but I realized I already knew who he was. But my real introduction was through my manager, and so he was just like asked me would I do a feature with him, and I was like, yeah, after I like really was learning about him, and so my manager reached out to Boogie. I think Boogie quoted him some price that we probably weren't going to be able to afford, and he was like, yeah, we're gonna have to dig in grandma's house, but we'll make it happen. And so Boogie like thought that was funny and was like, you know what? I like y'all. Here's my manager's number. I'm gonna give y'all a better price.
Hell yeah.
And then we made it happen. Sent him the bread, and then like the next day in the morning, it was in the inbox.
Well, it's a great song. I definitely I bumped that several times. I guess my last question would be, or actually, not really a question, but the album's called Movie Money. Do you maybe just want to tell the
Hmm.
listeners a little bit about why it's called that?
Because when they put out a movie, they don't judge the success of a movie about how many people watched it, like how a lot of people do music. Like they count the views and how many likes and how many monthly listeners you have. When they do the movies, it goes by the box office. It's how much money it made. So I was kind of like a business like minded title about like I'm not really worried about needing a million people to listen to it. I'm worried about like earning some money off of it.
Okay, yeah, I think that's about all the questions I got for you. Appreciate it, Andrew. You got anything you want to ask?
Yeah, I just got honestly a
You're
couple questions.
washed. I'm just-
So I had the Teachings, which I think at least on Apple Music is your most recent album. So I think it's your most recent, right? So when you were talking with Fig about Portland Amsterdam, you mentioned how like you didn't exactly know like if it was ready to release or whatever, blah blah blah. Do you feel like your process for releasing music has changed since then, like up to this album, or is it still kind of like you go through the same process and
For that specific album, it was different. I had got like funding. I had got a grant from the Regional Arts and Culture Council. They gave me a grant to record that album and release that album. So with that one, I started with no song and I had like a deadline. So I started writing it and finished writing it and recording it in the same year, where like Portland Amsterdam was like over 5 years or something. So yeah, the teachings was like different. It was definitely like set dates and then yeah, came out in a timely manner.
that makes sense? Yeah, for sure. All right, one last question. I feel like I guess this isn't really well. I'll lead into my question, but I feel like I've never really listened to like a ton of your albums. I feel like I hear a lot of your songs, whether it's music videos or social clips or things like that. I feel like I've more just heard songs here and there, and so it was cool to listen to an album. It's like front to back. But last question, just what's your favorite song on this album?
Hmm. The teaching. Mm, it's probably. Mm, it's between Priority and Pity Party.
All right, bet yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's all I got for you.
Before we wrap this up, we normally do some sort of rankings every episode, and I know it's going to be difficult, but we're going to have you do that. If you had to rank these three albums, where would you put them? Your children, I know.
Yeah, kind of weird, but um, dang, Movie Money is number one. Hmm, that's tough. But Portland Amsterdam is two, and The Teaching is three.
That's interesting, and I bet that's not like an indictment on any of them. There's a lot of reasons those albums are the way that they are, but
Yeah,
I can see that for sure.
and that's kind of neck and neck with Portland Amsterdam and freaking The Teaching. Yeah, The Teachings, but Portland Amsterdam has Still Smoke Kill, yeah, and Superwoman, and yeah, there's a lot. Just 30 songs, like hard to compete with.
Before you take off, we don't want to take up too much of your time. Do you have anything coming up? Any new music you want to talk about? New collaborations, something or other?
I'm gonna release Movie Money the sequel in October, probably. I'm gonna release an album called Fruition. It's produced by Kenai. He's the one that sung on Needed. Um, and then I have an album called The Mandela Effect Part Two, produced by my homie Showrunner from Seattle. So
You're doing a
yeah,
ton
I
of
got a song with
sequels.
Joel Santana coming out. I got a bunch of music coming out next month. Yeah, October
Awesome,
this
bro.
year. Hella music. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. We'll make sure to send you some clips from this. I'll add some graphics or something. Yeah, we appreciate it. Hope you had a decent time. And fuck off.
Appreciate y'all, man. It was lit. It was dope.
Absolutely.
Quick, simple. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we try to be.
Efficiency with a fish.
Big Fish Gang. All right, man. You can hop off. You can get out of here.
All right.
I don't know
All right,
how
catch you
to.
later.
I don't know how to hang you up.
I can hang up.
If we could kick you, we would.
Sweet. We can keep it pushing, and that'll be less editing. We're still in the podcast. This is still cast.
Should we give these albums rankings out
Yeah,
of
that's-
Coda B's?
Yeah, that's the next step. That's what we're doing
Hell
now.
That's the plan. That's what we
have
do
to.
here.
That's why he had to leave. We had to review his stuff. We can't do that sitting in front of him.
I was thinking the whole time, I was like, damn, as soon as we say, how many Coda B's would you get? He'd be like, what?
Yeah.
It's a unit of measurement.
All right. Who wants to go first for this part? Now that you don't have to talk to.
I'll go first.
The big bad wolf.
I'll get it. I'll just get it. So
The Don Father.
talked about it a little bit. I got Movie Money.
You got what he considered his best album.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. I think it might be one. Like, I haven't heard all of his albums, but I've heard probably 3 songs from each of them. But this is the first one I've listened to in its entirety. But yeah, favorite song, Needed, with West Side Boogie. Great song. One of my favorite artists too. All That was good because I think Timmy was on there. I think Timmy and JC were on there. And then there's Three Goats with both of his brothers, Timmy Hendrix,
That song's great.
JC Cordetta.
Is Planet of the Babes on there?
Yeah, that's the last song.
That's got Rob Vicious from Shoreline Mafia.
I
on it.
like this one because he, I think Strugglesome was a great one because he's just talking about the struggle. I think this is the one where Cordetta Girls was where he's talking about his daughters, I believe.
Ellis edited the video for that one. I'm
that
pretty
one
sure.
was a good, meaningful song. I like to hear some stuff. And he also stepped out of his, I mean, I don't know if it's out of his comfort zone, but usually just don't hear him singing a whole lot. And I got to hear some like nice little auto-tune tracks, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I love when he does it.
Some nice harmonies in the background too from female vocalists. Yeah, it was good. I like this album. There's not a whole lot I can say about it. Not a whole lot of negatives, nor would I say negatives.
And Ellis did the cover, so it's fantastic.
Yeah,
He shot
it's
it.
great. The album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
no,
shot,
it looks
he shot
great.
it and edited it.
If we could put up a picture, we would. Jarvis,
it's,
insert the image into
It's
people's
Swiggle
heads.
for the audio. It's an audio podcast, so we describe it. It's a picture of Swiggle talking into a big stack of money in a movie theater.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Go check that out.
Yeah. Is this where I rank it now?
Yeah.
I rank it. How many Coda B's would I give this one? Honestly, if I'm ranking it out of his music, which is how I'm going to do this, I think this has some of his best songs that I've heard. There's a couple on here that I actually really like. I'm going to have to give this album 10. I was going to give it 10.5, but I'm going to round it up to 11 out of 13 Coda B's. It's a good album. I'm not,
He's not hating.
I'm not a hater. That's it for me. What do you schmucks have?
I'll do it. I had Portland, Amsterdam, and I told him my favorite songs, which I guess I could have saved for this, but I've told him many times that MLK and Killingsworth I think is one of his best songs. It's one of my favorites. And I met him when he was making this album, so I might be a little biased towards it because I was there for so many of the video shoots. I was there when he was recording them, and some of them predate me. Some of them were years before me, but like the first video I saw of him was Portland Parks. That was like his first big thing that made him feel the way he wanted to feel about something. Like it did what he wanted to do. So knowing that was on it is I know how much that means to him and why, even though it's old, he would still rank it above his newest album, even only by a smidgen. Yeah, and I seriously hear Still Smoke Kill minimum 3 times a month, every month, for every month of my life, probably from the last 7,500 moons. How many moons is in 8 years?
Hella moons.
It's a lot of moons.
That's a lot of fucking moons, man.
I'm gonna say at least 3.
I'm gonna
I'm going to over on that one.
It is. It's fucking long. It is a long listen. I think I did the math. It's not like 3 hours. It was like an hour and 25 minutes for a 3-part album with like 30 something songs, 33 songs. But there is 3 parts. You can digest it in 3 parts. They are 3 separate albums, but it is one album. I think I would have to say 10 Coda B's out of 13 Coda B's if I had to. There is a lot of like still some of his most poignant and I think like relevant rapping songs on it. But it is very long. It's like that album Andrew gave me that was long.
10 million hours long.
We're gonna just assign you super long albums from now on.
I guess that's my thing, bro.
Get ready to listen to some Lil B.
Yeah, give me something that bad, bro. Give me something that does that to my life, because I'll commit. This is a pie. This is my. I'm committed to this. But are you? Are you ready for the return?
Are you willing to go the distance?
I mean, you at one point you said you were gonna give me a long album, and I think I probably got the shortest Swiggle ones. So
don't worry.
This thing was like 15 minutes.
Mine wasn't
short,
that
short
long either.
and
I mean,
sweet.
I skipped a few because I had heard them, or I mean, I played them for a second, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I know this song. And then I ran up to the next one.
I had such a long album.
Yeah.
All right, well,
what you got?
We could
for
talk about a
us?
short album now.
Yeah. Talk about it, motherfucker.
Run it.
All right. So I had The Teachings, which, as we talked about in his interview, was his most recent album, and I thought this was good. Like I said, it was only like 15, 16 minutes long, short and sweet. It was interesting to hear that it was like made through that grant and whatnot. I'd say my favorite songs were probably The Lecture, Pity Party, and Wanna Be 6ix9ine. I thought that was just kind of a fun little song there, catchy and whatnot. And yeah, I feel like short and sweet. I'll keep my review short and sweet too, and I'll give it, let's say, 9 out of 13 Coda B's.
So, if we all share the same musical opinion, we also rank them in the same order he did. 11, 10, 9.
I think I would probably, mine would be the same order that he said, just because Movie Money, obviously it's still fresh in my ears, so I would put that.
Movie Money's so good.
Up
I've bumped.
It's a bumper for sure.
It's a thumper and a scooter.
A bit of a bop.
Is Thoughts and Bops on there?
No, it is not. But
What
there's
is
still
Thoughts and Bops on?
There's thoughts and bops on there. So
It does contain both.
yeah.
My next album does contain thoughts. Well, we can move on to the Fish song.
Sure.
Andrew, do you want to introduce it, and then we'll play the song for a second, and then come talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So this week we had Ben Wallace, which is off of Swiggle Mandela and Figure Eight's album, Fig and Swig 2. Let's see, it features Coda B, Lie the Most High, Dirty Black, Jay Mello, and the Antelope Fisherman. And roll the clip, I guess.
I can never spend all it. Pockets face 10 Wallace. Ain't at the games. Me and all my friends started. Then the most Wallace been ballin'.
Used to ball on the court, niggas call me Ben Wallace. Started balling in the streets, fingers in a bitch's pocket.
And we're back.
Wow, what a great song.
Yeah, what do we got?
I was going to say, I don't really got any questions for you guys on this one, because I'm uncreative and unoriginal.
It's okay, man.
Just feel free to talk about it.
We're just going to spitball here, okay?
It was
Right off the bat, I'm going to say, best verse, Dirty Black. Off the top, Dirty Black, best verse.
bite her
Thunderstruck.
ass with my grill. Call it shit carrot cake.
Swiggles was good on there. He had some bars.
I had
I
some
liked
bars, bro.
You did have some bars. I'm not denying the.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
feel like you.
Hold on.
Everyone had some bars.
I'll give you second, bro, because you got the hook is very catchy.
Coda Baker's all about his bread.
You have you have the best chorus on the song. I'll give you that.
True.
And I did say my name is Coda Baker because I'm all about my bread, and I wish I never did because it haunts me to this day.
Yeah, we say it so much. Everyone in the group says it so fucking much. It is a part of the fish culture. If we drive by a bakery, it's over for them. It's every time, bro. I'm glad we don't do shows at the Hawthorne Hideaway anymore because
I
it was
know.
right across the street from a bakery, and every time we went outside, and we spent a lot of time outside at shows.
Just point over. A lot of fun memories with that song though. That was a
We made it in the basement. Not this
fun
one.
ass studio sessions. The basement of where?
We made it at Zones, Sloth City.
We did we?
No.
No, we did it at Jordan Mixed District Studios.
Yeah, we did. We shot the video at the basement.
Yeah,
That's still not out.
because I remember
shout out that
Dirty
video.
Black sent in his vocals and
Yeah.
yeah.
You're correct. And then we shot like 4 scenes outside of Zones thing. And then we were like, let's do some more scenes soon.
Yeah, no, it was a good song. I mean, I think it's another song where everyone just kind of went their hardest. It's not like there's still goofy bars, but it's actually like
That's a thumper, bro.
it's one of ours. Like you can play that at a show, and it's like not embarrassing. Not that all of our songs are embarrassing, but we have ones that's like.
Let's
yeah,
not play this here.
I'm
this
glad
is
we
for
made
in
that
your
song,
room.
but yeah, that's for yourself. That's
I feel like it's up there as one of my favorite like fish songs.
Yeah.
S&D
Like
produced the beat.
it's real good.
I would put it up there with as far as like group songs, it's up there with My Fish and Cocaine on the Table and things of that ilk. It's we perform it a lot. But even if people aren't there, we'll do their verse or do a shortened version. We love that song. I don't know what we originally made it for. I don't think it was the Fish Tank, but when I was finishing up Fig and Swig 2, I was like, I want a fish song.
Yeah, I think we just had some leftover studio time, and we're like, that was one that we
made
started.
it on my birthday.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was fun. Yeah,
We had a long studio session on my birthday a couple of years ago.
good times, good fun. Go stream it. We need a video.
Bro, we fit in the album ranking still. I know we talked about before the podcast that we weren't going to do a ranking, but I squeezed it in with Swiggle at the end.
Yeah, bro.
We did it in the news. We did the fish song.
Fucking nuzzled it in there.
General discussion. Anything you want to general
complete-
discuss?
We can discuss generally. Generally,
I
I'd
wanna
like to
dis-
discuss. Sorry.
I want to just shout out Dochi's album. Let me get the.
Oh,
wanna get the
I
title
listened to
proper.
it. I forgot about that.
Dude, it's so fucking good. It's Alligator Bites Never Heal. I think it's a great album, and I think it should get Grammy nomination for some either rap album of the year or album of the year.
It's very good.
Very good. It's very.
It's
good.
interesting. It's very different. I don't even know where the hell that came from. I didn't know she existed.
She signed to TDE, and I think she kind of got. Honestly, I think she kind of got famous off of, like, being a TikTok rapper. From what little bits I was reading and just kind of about listening to some of the songs and stuff, but
She's very good.
she's dope. Like I feel like once I found out she was on TDE, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like
Yeah, that could be if
every
that's
artist that
marketed
comes
right.
off TDE.
If that's marketed right, that could be a new Kendrick for them. Now that there is a Kendrick-sized hole, like maybe not
yeah.
the same level of gargantuan, but that type of music. It's
Well, and like I feel like every TDE artist has been like pretty damn successful.
yeah.
So I feel like there's no reason to believe she's not gonna have a nice little run.
Yeah, absolutely.
So shout out to her because that album's dope. Probably my favorite this year.
When you were saying I want to talk about, I thought you were going to be like the eco-socionomical political. I didn't know you actually had something you want to talk about. So that's
No, I wanted to
that's awesome.
give her a little shout out.
I have a bit of discussion. If you guys are willing to partake,
I'll
generally.
acquire some taste with you.
All right. Well, it's more of a question for our audience or a request. I'm not going to get into too much details. You got to join the Patreon if you want to find out what we're doing. But just know we're working on a movie type thing. So, but we're also looking for songs of ourselves and just free songs that we can use to put in the song, into the the movie. So if you guys have any, if the listeners, the taste buds, have
Submit
any
'em.
suggestions, just DM us. We know there's people listening. I don't know if anyone actually has heard this podcast before, but with the statistics say people are listening.
Yeah, you guys are out there.
Hit
We
us
see
up.
you.
Who are you and why are you listening to us?
What is a Victor reader? theantelopefisherman@gmail.com. We will respond if you email. We're going to get an office phone number soon. We'll figure you can just call us and explain
call
why.
us.
What are you doing?
We can just talk about your day even.
Don't call me though.
Let me continue listening to these three guys talk about hip hop 4 weeks before or after it happened.
Yeah. It's amazing.
We're actually closer to on time now. It's like a week behind.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're
eventually we'll get there.
So submit, DM us, Gmail. That was your discussion.
yeah, that was my discussion. I'm out of discussion.
You're out of discussion.
What's your discussion?
My
Anybody else
discussion.
got some discussion?
I got
Yeah.
some discussion. Hey, love what you hear? You can support our podcast by signing up for a free trial to Amazon Music Unlimited. Get access to millions of songs, including the latest hip hop tracks with no ads. Click our link in the description on whatever you're listening to this on and support us at no extra cost to you.
No extra cost. Do you hear that?
We legally have to tell you that it is directly supporting us.
What a great deal. Come on. It's,
Yeah, you get a free trial. You get it free. You just click on the link, and just by clicking on that link, it supports the growth of this podcast.
I'm going to click the link right now and sign up.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, why not try?
We wouldn't support something that we didn't also think was tight. So we love Amazon Music,
Loved him so much. Jeff Bezos.
Amazon Music Unlimited. All right. That's it for episode 9.
Hell yeah, we bodied that shit.
We bodied this episode, bro. I almost forgot to do
Perfect
that.
episode.
Damn it, bro. I named the last episode a perfect episode because you said that at the end. I didn't know it was a catchphrase.
They
I thought
said
we
it
did
couldn't
it.
be done twice. But look where we are. All right.
I think that's it.
Are we,
That's it.
Taste you later.
that's it?
Taste you later,
goddamn
taste
it. I need
buds.
to stop saying that. It's
It's
not the thing.
Perfect episode.